This is a Culture Inject production.
Welcome back, folks, to a Part of Us, an En Vogue Fancast. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook at En Vogue Craze, and on Twitter at Part of Us Fancast and at En Vogue Craze. Stream Part of Us on Amazon Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, pretty much everywhere. If you have ideas, interview requests, comments, or questions, email them to us at partofusevf@gmail.com. If you like what you hear, great. Leave us a rating, review, and let us know how we're doing. So this week's episode, we are talking album covers. But first, we're going to talk about what's trending.
Well, rumor has it that En Vogue will be on Good Morning America Thursday, March 3rd. And that's today. En Vogue also posted a new Insta story hinting at a possible song, Bring Back the Time, with NKOTB, which is New Kids on the Block, SMP, which is Salt and Pepper, and Rick Astley.
I'm into it.
I'm into it too. I mean,
we love a promo train.
To be on a song. I feel like it has to be accompanied with the video, though. It has to be.
Okay, now that's exciting.
Well, I'm hoping that it is accompanied with a video.
Speaking it into existence.
Yes, because I feel like it'll give it more of a lifespan versus just a song. You know, I think that'll be cool. But that's a lot of people on a song.
It could be a We Are the World type of, everyone has a few bars and they go to the next person and they go to the next person and
exactly.
And Cyndi Lauper starts yelling. No, I'm just kidding.
And Michael Jackson turns and gives a look like, girl, you're not on your
note. We gonna see. I mean, I think like any promo, like I love when a project gets its promotional treatment. So if this is all supporting this tour, obviously, then they're trying to get them butts and seats. So get them butts and seats.
It's exciting that they have they're part of something that has a promotional budget. And New Kids on the Block, I don't know how they managed to do it. They really turned their careers around because, I remember New Kids on the Block. You guys know, I'm 85 baby, so I feel like they were kind of maybe going out of popularity when I was, old enough to buy music, or they had already transitioned out. But and then of course, what was that song? There was an LFO song, but then Eminem did a diss of it, so it was like, I'm not gonna say what Eminem said, but they really turned it around. I don't know if that's because of Johnny Wahlberg being on Blue Bloods or him being Mark Wahlberg's brother, but out of SMP, En Vogue, and New Kids on the Block, I wouldn't think that they'd be the big headliners, but they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They have a loyal fan base. The nostalgia is real. So
I will say, Jordan Knight, Give It to You. I remember when that was on TRL.
I love that song.
That was a good song. But even that, it still wasn't. That was late 90s. And then there was a period. I remember he did Surreal Life. But whatever. I'm happy that they're doing well, and I'm happy that they brought our girls on the road. So
exactly, 100%.
Yes. So Rona was recently interviewed on the My Morning Coffee podcast, and during her chat, she shared that En Vogue is gearing up to release a few things. Quote, as a group, we have a couple of things coming up that I can't speak on just yet, but it will be happening in March. So keep your eyes peeled and your ears open for some really special stuff we've been working on behind the scenes. She also said that she's getting ready to release something that she's been working on in the next couple of months. So what do we think these goodies are? Hopefully, by the time this episode's out, maybe we'll know a little bit more. Maybe some of what she was talking about was the New Kids on the Block collab. What do y'all think is up En Vogue's sleeves?
You know what's funny? When it comes to artists and celebs, usually what we hope their getting us excited for is not what we want it to be. You know what I mean? Like, you know, Beyonce could tease a release and we're like, oh, it's the album, and it's like another Ivy Park release. Or Rihanna's like, oh, I have something coming this Friday, and we're like, oh, is it a single? And it's more Fenty product. You know what I mean? So I'm like, well, that's not what I wanted. So I hope that it's new music with just them. But I mean, if it's other opportunities and other business ventures, I'm here for that too. You know, so but I do want music.
Yeah, I would like new music, but just thinking like how that will work, because they're going to be on this long, well, it's not long, I think it runs from like May to July. So if they release something new, like we've said previously, like this is a nostalgia tour, so nobody's going to want to hear anything new who's, you know, going to that tour. They want to go back to the late 80s and early 90s. So how would you promote a new song if, you know, you're going on the, unless, I don't know, they don't seem like they're the type who will go on that type of tour and then still like do like promo spots somewhere else. So if they are working on new music, I would love that. But I just think maybe they need to wait until after the tour's over so they can promote it.
I understand that. I kind of disagree just because I'm like, I feel like a tour is a good avenue to promote new music. Just because outside of the MP3, like you're actually seeing the performance, you're getting a feel-up vibe and the energy that they want you kind of to convey. Because I think Beyonce did that with Grown Woman. Like, Grown Woman was a new release, but the first time we heard it was on stage.
Yeah, I mean, I hope it's new music. And even if they don't like full-fledged promote it on the tour, at least like, you know, they could start 30 seconds of it and then transition into a classic, you know, like it could be kind of an interesting, like little drop it in casually kind of thing. But I also do agree that if they're going to be on tour, that certainly does take away the opportunity to like book shows and like try and get on like a talk show or two and like, you know, perform it. So I don't know. I hope like if it is new music, it is given the due diligence of like a real like promotional thing. Like I get that everything is about the tour, but like you're still En Vogue. So like we need you to like be doing your own thing a little bit too. Don't get caught up in New Kids on the Block thing, because you are a supporting act on this, unfortunately. You know?
Exactly.
That is true.
Don't miss your moment.
What do you think Rona's working on? I know she's been working on a book for the longest, and like I want to say maybe 2016 she was working on, maybe even earlier than that, she was working on like an EP that was going to be called R&B Gumbo, which I hated that name, but I remember she even had a listening party that Terry was at and everything, and she did that video, Take Me There, and it never came out. So I'm wondering, is it going to be music or is it going to be that book? Because both have been in the works for such a long time.
I could see both. Why not?
I'll be happy with both. I mean, I feel like it's time for her to take, you know, what she does on her YouTube channel, her life coaching, her inspirational, you know, mantras and that kind of thing to a different level. So I'll be here for it. I actually would buy that book. I mean, that skin ain't cracking. That glow is not lit, has not dimmed.
Right.
So
something
she doing
is
something
working. Right.
So I definitely would buy that book.
I hope that I do hope that she's giving, like, I love hearing Rona talk. Like, I think like she is the strongest out of the three in giving interviews. Like, she's just always like, she knows how to land like a talking point. And so I think that like what she does separate of the group, like for her own sort of business, I think is really interesting. So I would be curious to see how she creates a book, or what that would be. I also would really love some music from Rona, because I feel like Rona's got something to say that maybe she can't do in En Vogue. So I mean, that could be interesting and also I think would really be a great indicator of like the ability for the three of them to go do, like y'all had mentioned a couple episodes ago, do some like separate things and then be able to come back and do some separate things and be able to come back. So I don't know, fingers crossed.
Also, so Cindy and Terry posted some photos of themselves on Instagram. Rona was not present in those photos, but they were in heavy makeup. The faces were beat for the gauze. They had these like slick back long ponytails curled at the end, you know. So, but we don't know what it's for. Is it a new photo shoot? Is it a television appearance? Because it's obviously them. They're doing something pre-taping or pre-shooting something. So, but I don't know what it would be with just Terry and Cindy. What do you guys think?
Well, all roads to me are leading back to promo for the tour. That's what I'm thinking. It's probably going to be either like an EW photo shoot, because EW loves like the throwback. You know, this is the 20th anniversary of, you know, we're bringing back Felicity. It's 20 years. Or the music video for the song that we just were talking about. Probably something along those lines. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, my guess is like tour book, like promo photos for the tour, that kind of thing. Like, because I feel like we've been seeing Cindy and Terry doing things kind of as the duo, but I think it's because Rona doesn't live in California anymore, and so I think it's like, I don't know, when I see just the two of them, I'm like, where is Rona?
Right.
Like I go into like
Exactly.
my like defense mode that always happens when like a girl group like is photographed with some of the girls. I'm like, so what's the beef? What's going on?
Right. What's happening?
But I think it is maybe that, you know, God bless the internet and the ability and like technology and the ability to be able to do stuff like remotely, because I'm sure Rona was on the other end somewhere beat as well,
Right.
you know, doing the same thing, whatever it is. So I hope it's imagery. I want beauty shots. I want
Yes.
I want fashions. So
We
yeah,
all
and
do. We all do.
I love a
these
ponytail, too.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm curious as to what Rona's hair looks like, because Rona is usually the one who has like the more natural. She's always rocking braids or faux locks. You know that I think that black wig, that the bob is iconic. It's a great look for her. I'm wondering if she's doing this look too, because it would be a different vibe for me from Rona. So I would be interested to see what her hair looks like with whatever this thing is.
I just imagined it in my head, and I really like the idea of all three of them having the same hair. Like,
Yes.
that would be everything.
Well, you speaking about how like she's probably in Atlanta, well, wherever she is. I mean, name the location, but on the other side of the country. Remember they did the promo for Coming to America, and they're like, it was interesting how they did it, because like Cindy and Terry were in the same room, and she was somewhere like, you know, probably in her home or in a hotel, and she was still a part of it. So yeah, with technology you can do anything. But okay, getting into our poll, we recently followed up with our followers on Instagram and Twitter asking whether they'd prefer a biopic or a tell-all book. The results are in, and it was split evenly down the middle, 50% in favor of a biopic and 50% wanting a tell-all book. Our last poll asked if our followers would prefer an En Vogue musical or biopic, and a biopic came out on top. Did you vote this time? And what would you prefer, a tell-all book or a biopic?
I always vote. I'm always in the number. I am here for a biopic always. I mean, I would read a tell-all book 100%, but I love the visuals, you know, especially like, you know, who would they cast to play En Vogue, young En Vogue, older En Vogue, like how they would recreate the videos, you know, them recreating like the drama like of it all, the stuff that we didn't see, but so it's kind of like you can kind of like, you know, Dawn's YouTube tour, but she can tell me a story. However, to see it be reenacted, I'm like, ooh, it is spicy. I would prefer that. But a musical, I think, Josh, you really sold me on the musical idea, because you were kind of like, you know, Dawn leaving the group, having her like her swan song, you know, her and I am telling you moment. Like, I feel like that would be really cool, especially like. So I know the Spice Girls has a musical, but it's their catalog being the soundtrack for the musical. But I would even be here for like there being newer original music specifically for the stage play or whatever, I would be here for that.
I've resolved that neither of these are a reality, so I just sort of have to lead with that because I can't get too excited about one or the other. I don't really think a tell-all book is like for me. Like, I just think that tell-all books have like a really short shelf life because, like, especially like, you know, when folks are still active. Like, I think about folks who released biographies while they were in the middle of their career and then had to like write another one later down the line. Like, and so I just don't know that like it feels very closing of the chapter to sort of like, no pun intended, to like write a tell-all book to be like, you know, we're at the end of something, so we're reflecting back kind of thing. And I don't really love that. I think a biopic is the most viable option. I don't think it will ever happen, obviously, because everybody's biopic will be a whole different set of events, and there is not enough time on the television to give these ladies to talk about all of the different variations of the stories. So I'm still sticking to a musical, even though that was, you know, the last time. To your point,
I can see them doing a Lifetime movie. You know, sometimes Lifetime movies, if it's a biopic, they focus on a specific time in the career. So you probably won't get everything, because even like the Clark Sisters biopic, it was based on like their beginning to like a certain point. So I mean, I could see a biopic happening on Lifetime, maybe like up until, I don't know, the release of their first album or second album, kind of like, you know, their journey to get to become En Vogue. Journey to En Vogue. Y'all better hire me to write this biopic. But anyway, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I thought it was interesting about the Spice Girls musical. I think was one, but I don't think we see it. Michael Jackson has a musical on Broadway right now, and I think it was apparently sort of a sliver in time kind of thing. So it's like the Dangerous era, and it kind of weaves in other things, but it's largely sort of centered in that. So I think there's something interesting about like what you said, either be that for a movie or for a musical. They also did, there's a new musical which I think is largely based on Britney Spears' discography. It's called Once Upon a One More Time, and it basically takes like Britney Spears music but like puts it through like fairy tale treatment almost, and so it has nothing to do with Britney Spears, but like it's got the nostalgia of the songs, and it's interesting to think how would they use these songs in a very non-Britney Spears scenario. So I don't know, I think they could do that.
Before we transition, I do want to shout out our co-host, Jonathan JP. He is absent, but he is here with us in spirit.
He is Don's public defender.
Yes. So we're going to be absent of his shade this episode. So
before we, like, I just want to say regarding that, I think it was such a good idea what you said regarding it being like about maybe a sliver of the career. And so I was thinking, like, if they were to do a biopic, like, I wouldn't want it necessarily be a biopic, but there'd be something about them. And I'm thinking, like, what if it was like Feud, Vandross versus En Vogue or something like that? So it's just about the tour, you know.
Ooh,
I love that.
That would be a great like little biopic.
Yeah, because I agree with like you guys were saying, if you do it like it's over, like if it's your whole life, because that means there's really not supposed to be anything after that. So
right,
exactly.
Ooh,
and then seeing who could portray Luther Vandross.
Exactly.
and all his divadom, that would be amazing.
Who do you think could play Luther? I don't think I can't think of anyone without a big caricature.
They would probably like. I was gonna say Titus. He can sing though, but I'm trying to think of who would have like a Luther presence, and I just don't know that anybody could really do it. But
the person that came to mind is, oh my God, he was in the Ryan Murphy show Hollywood. He was the black guy. I mean, obviously he was a black guy. Let me look it up.
Oh, and was he the guy that was also on Pose?
Yes, his name Jeremy Pope.
Jeremy
from Broadway.
Pope.
Okay,
Yeah.
This is where I definitely get getting way off topic, but I did see I know that En Vogue Craze has a Facebook group. There's also another Facebook group that I'm in dedicated to En Vogue as well. I can't remember which group it was in.
Traitor.
There was some, Matthew and JP are in that group too. Don't play. But I don't know what group it was in, but somebody had posted a post about who they could see playing En Vogue in a biopic, and I just thought that their choices were
horrible.
Very questionable. I would say very questionable. Because I think Shalea was in there. Keke Palmer was in there. It was another girl. I just thought, I was like, this isn't, because I guess the age gap was so wide with all of them. But I guess they were saying oh, well, En Vogue, they're on at the same age. I'm like, I understand that, but Shalea is in her 40s and Keke Palmer is 30. So I was like, I don't think that would go. But I'm trying to think who could I see playing En Vogue, and it's a very hard process. I feel like it would definitely be probably undiscovered talent and maybe some talent from Broadway, but I don't know any very actresses who are in the public eye who can be En Vogue. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Well, that could be a whole episode of this podcast. We all can come up with our cast and what we would want to see, how the story would go. Even though, I agree with this, both of you. When you do a biopic, to me, what is left after that? So TLC did theirs, and that basically means it's it. Which I guess it was kind of it when Left Eye, when she was in Honduras and all that stuff happened. But Tina Turner, she still had a great career after that, but you just weren't gonna, it was just kind of the legacy was already set, so nothing she could do after that was gonna, top anything before. Just okay, I'm at peace now, and that's it. So I don't want that for them yet. I want them to have a comeback.
This week are, by suggestion from one of our listeners, Marco in Mexico. Shout out to Marco.
Hi, Marco.
We are at Marco's request. We've been asked to produce an episode where we examine each of En Vogue's album covers, and we thought that was a cool idea. So before we jump in, reminder, if you have episode ideas, we want to hear them. Send them to us at partofusevf@gmail.com, and we'll probably produce an episode around it. So today, we're going to discuss our favorites, least favorites, and controversial album covers. We're looking at you, Masterpiece Theater. Some of us are so let's start with full-length album covers. And of course, who else would it be but to talk about Born to Sing than the lover of the album cover extraordinaire, me. But we're going to talk about Born to Sing, Funky Divas, EV3, Masterpiece Theater, and so on. Our
producer, Matt, is petty for this one.
Right?
I love it.
When I saw it, I was like, of course. So a little bit of insight about Born to Sing. The photographer was David Roth, who you may have seen his work with Michelet's self-titled album, as well as Keith Sweat's I'll Give You All My Love and Yolanda Adams' Through the Storm. Art directed by Bob Defrin, makeup by Tara Posey, hairstyling by Roberto Leone, and wardrobe styling by Victor Joseph. So I'm gonna actually toss this to you all first, because my thoughts on this album cover are well documented.
They are. We've had letters and memorabilia and all the kind of stuff created around your opinion of the album cover. You've spoken so eloquently about it. For me, I don't feel one way or another about it. To me, it just was what it was. I'm so used to seeing it. So it's, hearing people think it's great or that it's bad, it's interesting to me. What I do like about it is that they're on a beach. I'm from California. They're representing Oakland. So, there's just something about a beach. I mean, maybe people can't tell, but I can tell it's a beach. Maybe because I'm from California. So maybe that doesn't help.
Right. The palm trees that are like out of focus in the background. Yeah.
Right. And like it, I said in the previous episode, like it's the first, kind of stepping stone in their progression to being funky divas. So I don't feel too strongly about it. They're in all white, and sometimes I like all white, sometimes I don't. It's just to me, it's just I'm so used to seeing it. It's just a part of me.
So I'm gonna start with what I appreciate about this album cover first. I do appreciate the fresh faceness, them looking natural. Dawn and Maxine rocking the braids. I can appreciate that like natural girl next door type of look. They look relatable. They look young. They look fresh. They look like somebody that you can hang out with and be friends with. Like, oh, I like these girls. Who are they? I get it. And also for the time, these suits they're wearing with the sheer legs and the sheer sleeves, like I feel like it would give me more if they were standing up. And this is going to be a recurring thing when we go through all of the album covers, because I don't understand why they are styled and have all these like fashion forward looks, but all of the final photos that are chosen are up close and it's hiding the clothes. I think it's a horrible decision, and that's a recurring theme on a lot of their promo photos. So, and you're going to hear me say that a lot on this episode. So be prepared, listeners. But yeah, I'm like, you can't even see, all you can see is Terry and Cindy's faces. You can't see them. But I feel like if they're on a beach, they could have done something a lot more fashion forward, more runway, more Vogue-esque. On the beach is just them sitting down. I don't like the album cover. It's my least favorite out of all the album covers. I even like Masterpiece Theater more than this, despite it being controversial. But yeah, this is my least favorite album cover out of all the album covers. Sorry to Bob Defrin and Tara Posey and David Roth. I apologize. I just don't, I feel like in this entire shoot, there are probably other photos that are much better that En Vogue and the entire team can appreciate behind the scenes. But the studio chose this photo, and what can you do?
Joshua was warming up.
Let's go.
It's a lot of what Champ just said. I don't understand why, of a group that all four are lead vocalists, why they kind of just stuck Terry and Cindy in the back like that. Like, it just doesn't, they're not given equal shine. And in fact, out of everybody, like, Max is sprawled out like she in the bed. Like, it is like she is taking up, like, we see full body almost of Max. We see like half of Dawn, and then we see like a fourth of Cindy and Terry. And so it just doesn't, like, it literally just doesn't compute to me of how this was a smart choice of a photo to use. I do agree that I think that there's something like fresh and nice about it. Like, it feels
it's virginal.
Youthful. Yeah, it feels like very virginal.
First time, all in white.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's so interesting because I feel like it doesn't necessarily translate musically that way. Like, I just don't think that like what they were giving, like, if this was a Christian group, like if this was like, I'd be like, this is stunning for them.
Okay.
But this is not what I would automatically assume visually for them based off of the songs and based off of the album as a whole. So like, that's my problem with it. It's not so much that like it's not great. They don't look good or something. Like, they all look great. It's just that it doesn't like add up to me, and it doesn't move me, and it certainly, just to reiterate, is not timeless. So that being said, I do love, I'm a big fan of I'm a typography kind of nerd. And so I love the font treatment. I'll say that I love that it's right there at the top. I love it's in red. I just love that part of it. So like, I ain't gonna hate on all of it.
And it does match their lip color, which I feel like is like a cool concept too.
Oh, wow. See, you guys are making me see things I've never noticed before.
Oh yeah, because they have a red lipstick. I'm sure that they got like several proofs where En Vogue was in white, En Vogue was in black, En Vogue.
Y'all know they had one in white because they was like, let's match them suits.
Exactly, but making it red, it gives the cover balance to me.
Okay, so that's 100%. Bob Deffrin, the art director, must have did that. Go,
Mm-hmm.
Bob.
I would have pushed Born to Sing over because the way Born is split on the V, I would have moved it over. Look at us being super technical.
But those things matter, right? Because
they do.
Because when you do it that way, it implies that there's a reason. And if there's not a reason,
exactly.
Like I'm looking for the reason. Like, what is the B? What is the significance of the B?
Exactly.
Like,
I don't understand like why the Born is on that. Maybe they thought it was like a cool aesthetic choice, but just scoot it over. Like you don't have to split up Born like that. It looks weird to me. And I'm low key like self-diagnosed OCD, so that just bothers me. I would love to hear what JP has to say about this cover. I would love to hear it.
If I remember, JP kind of liked it, right?
Yeah.
He liked the album cover. Yeah, he liked it, unfortunately.
The insert though, what did you think about the insert? I know we're talking about covers, but when they were in kind of like the brown, the different shades of brown, I guess at first I always thought those were sweaters, but they were sweater dresses.
Oh yes, it's giving glamour shots. Yes.
I do like that. That is nice. Yes.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yes.
See what happens when you haven't listened.
Collectible,
right?
Yes.
So I'll say I like it better. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna walk something back. So my issue is not with them. My issue is with the fashions of the time. Like, because I think that's my problem is that, like, but that was fresh and poppin' then. So I have to recognize that because I think they have so many other covers where the fashion feels more classic and timeless.
Right.
Like I think most every other album cover has like a timelessness or a classic sort of whatever. And this is very trendy. This was very trendy. And so I get that. And I think
for the listeners, just so you know, Matan, he showed us the Born to Sing booklet. And it was them like in like a diamond formation in these like black sweater dresses. And I also found a picture on Google of them. They were like on a set, but like they were like wearing like heels with these like blazers and sunglasses. The hair is popping. They're wearing these like little, very tailored capri pants. I guess you can call it that. But they look great. They look very, very vibrant. So if you can Google those photos just so you kind of know what we're referencing. But yeah, I think that all those photos are much better than this album cover. Much better than this album cover.
Okay, well, they did better the next time. They did better the next time.
Okay,
and they had an opportunity. Hold on, they had an opportunity with the anniversary to give us another. I love when people give us an anniversary or expanded whatever or a deluxe something where they give us a different shot from the photo shoot or they give us a different something. And I mean, if my memory serves me correct, all they did was put the thing in sepia tone or like whatever that sort of like yellowish thing, which I didn't understand either. So I was just like, y'all, like somebody got the photos in the archive. Just like sometimes fan art be better than the regular art. But anyway.
That is true. I saw a really great I have to share it with you, but I think it was someone in Brazil or Argentina somewhere did like this kind of poster for Rocket, and it's really awesome. I'll share it with you guys later.
Oh, wow.
But let's get into a hit. I'm pretty sure everyone is going to love this album cover. To me, it's their best. We're getting into Funky Divas. Dun, 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 dun,
Yes.
The Funky Divas album cover photographers were Ressick and Taylor, who worked with Lionel Richie for the Love Oh Love album, Tupac, Dear Mama, Brandy, Never Say Never. Well, I love Never Say Never.
Oh, me too.
I guess Daniel Luis also did some photography, or it's Daniel Ressick and Luis Tyler. I'm not sure. But the art director was Elizabeth Barrett. Makeup by Troy Jensen. Hairstylist, they kept Roberto Leon. Wardrobe stylist, it might have been Danny Flynn, or it might have been Victor Joseph, because I know Victor Joseph worked with them for years. And I just love this album cover, but I want to hear let's hear what Josh has to think first, since he didn't care for the last one.
I love this. I love this. It holds up for me. It's like, I love that they're like, it's kind of giving personality a little bit more to me. Like, it's giving motion because they're like sort of mid-stride, which I love. We're seeing a whole outfit.
Right.
Pretty much.
Right.
And it's still got the classic sort of font hanging out. I just think it's like a beautiful like representation of the ladies, and there's just enough variation in the outfits that you can kind of sort of, I don't know, you can kind of get a vibe for each of them. So I love this album cover. I think the concept is really like interesting, and I think that they did the damn thing on this one. I just don't think that there's anything wrong with this. There might be one little tweak I would make is Terry is so tall, not Terry, Cindy is so tall. And like she just looks like she's like the interwoven arms. Like, I think she's kind of like leaning a little bit or something. I don't know. I just wish that like she would have been in more of a statuesque, like straight on thing, almost the way Terry and Dawn are. Like Terry and Dawn kind of like steal it from me. But it's a gorgeous album cover. I have literally like no reason to be mad at any of it.
Yay!
I 100% agree. It's a great album cover. I had mentioned on another episode that I think the choice to have this little sepia filter is a great choice. And I just realized why that is, because they're wearing all black, and like in any other filter or whatever, like you probably cannot see the detail in their outfits, but this sepia filter, it really lets you see the detail, like the texture of Dawn's blouse with the bra, even the bustier that Maxine is wearing. You can even see the waves in their hair. Like it is very intentional, and I love that. I will say that, like I said before, I wish that Terry and Cindy were not arm in arm, and I wish that Cindy was looking straight forward. I wish her eyeline was the exact same way as the other girls, because if you just cut her off with your hand, it's like, ooh, yes. But then when you see it's like, Cindy, where are you looking? Are you ready yet? You know, you know what I mean? Like she's kind of like, she's asked the question like, should I turn to the side? Like, what do we do? But either way, it's still a very, very iconic and fashionable look. Even the berets, like I feel like it could have went left, but the styling of it all, shout out to Danny Flynn. The styling of it just makes everything work so well.
I love it. I remember Warehouse, the record store, the posters of it. I was just so obsessed with this image, and I think, well, no, it didn't make me a fan, but it was just like, it blew my mind in a sense, because I've been a fan since Hold On, but it was like this, it was just a whole other level. And coupled with the Never Gonna Get It video, it just the beauty, and it's just like they're such chameleons, and they could just travel through these different eras, and it doesn't come off as costumey. Like I don't know if you would say they're like, if this is the 20s, I don't, you know, if it's the Harlem Renaissance, is it somewhere in Paris? Like it's just everything. Like Josh said, the motion, I like that. It's just because, you know, like you get tired of everything being like, okay, this is supposed to be a picture. It's like, no, like this was a capture. Like they're walking down, this yellow brick road, or they're walking down the Champs-Elysees, they're walking down wherever they're walking down, and gives it a story because it's almost like, they captured something that was moving. And I mean, I just really love everything about it. I love like the lighting, the depth, like is it an alley behind them or an arc? Just everything about it, like it just all adds up together. And then since we're talking about typography, I do like the purple with the calligraphy of the just everything about it. I love this cover. I can't say it enough. The whole booklet.
The purple is like a nice little like cherry on top because it breaks up the color palette, with this like black, white, light brown. It kind of breaks the color palette, so it's a very, very good choice. And of course, the Funky Divas font. It's very for the time because it reminds me of like those old Nickelodeon shows, like All That or My Brother and Me. Kenan and Kel. It reminds me of those old 90s Nickelodeon shows.
I remember those.
But for the time, it makes perfect sense. It goes very, very well.
Like it really introduced them as they look like Funky Divas. It backed up what they were giving. That image is, everything. And so with Born to Sing, maybe it wasn't so much they were trying to be these divas. They just wanted you to focus on their voices. So maybe that's why the cover was, not given too much thought. But this one, it seems so deliberate but organic at the same time. It's like they really grew into being these incredible superhero women. And they're just chameleons. Like it's just crazy how like they could give you this and they could give you Free Your Mind, and I just love it. I remember going to the record store and I wanted like a display that had it, and they wouldn't give it to me.
You should have stolen.
I was too little. If I was, my height now and everything, I could have just walked out with it. But
I'll take that, and I want you to follow me too. Follow me, sir. I'm taking this cutout. Look, and I'm gonna put it right in my kitchen. So you see En Vogue asking you, "What do you want to eat, baby?" Well, so moving on, we're moving on to the EV3 album cover.
My favorite.
Let's get into it. So for the EV3 album cover, the photographer was Guzman. You may know his work from Lenny Kravitz, Salt and Pepper, Hole, Mariah, and SWV. The art director was Ali Design. Makeup by Troy Jensen, Matthew Anderson, and Bernadette Thompson. Hairstylist was Chris McMillan, Idris Nichols, and the wardrobe stylist was Danny Flynn. Album art concept. Oh, I'm reading all that. I'm sorry. So what do y'all think of this album cover? I'll give it to Matan first. Go ahead.
Oh, I had so much to say the last time. I feel like when I go back and listen to these episodes, I'm like, I talk way too much. Like, I'm just talking and talking and talking and talking. But I do have a lot to say about the EV3 cover. I like it. It just, to me, the whole album, and I know there was so much confusion happening with it, but, what are you trying to give? Whereas with Funky Divas, I know... it's basically we're about to do this. We're about to take over the world. With this one, it doesn't match the music to me. Maybe matches Don't Let Go and Gone Too Long. But it's high fashion. But the music was more so a lot of it was laid back R&B funk. I love floral, so that's nice. It's visually pleasing. I like the font since we're talking about typography, but it's just, I don't know what they were trying to give with the cover, and I don't know what they're trying to give with the music. It's not cohesive to me. And even the looks on the faces, Maxine is looking, kind of, maybe fierce will be the word, because it's kind of a subtle anger. And then Cindy's just kind of, I'm here. And then Terry, I don't know, it's just a deadpan kind of, she's staring at something. their style great. I love the way they look, but it's just, to me, it's like there's no focus, and that's kind of was like EV3 for me. Even though I love the EV3 record, it's just kind of all over the place.
Because En Vogue is En Vogue, the first thing I always go to is like, what are they wearing? All the time. And so I will say that for this album cover, I think the hair and the makeup is truly iconic. It's very haute couture. I feel like they're giving like this like baby doll-esque type of vibe. Because my opinion is that the dresses are a no. I don't think that they match with the hair. You know what I mean? I don't get why they're in. One thing I will say is that I feel like En Vogue's signature look is like this very one piece freakum dress type of look, you know, like, you know, in Hold On, they have the black dresses. My Lovin', they have the silver dresses. Give Them Some, He Can Feel the red dresses. You know, like, I feel like if even a lot of their album covers or even like what they wore on stage is very like, it's not like freakum dress look. It has one color. So I feel like this was like a deviation because it's printed in its color, but it's still giving the same thing. But at the same time, I'm kind of like, why are you guys sitting down and covering up the look? I don't understand that. You know, I don't like the fact that Terry's legs are more prominent than her dress. I don't like that I can't see the bottom of Maxine's dress. I see her knees. Like, it's just, I'm just kind of like, why did y'all choose, or why couldn't there be levels? Like, why can't one of the ladies be standing up, another one sitting on top of the sofa, one sitting on, like, it's like, give me levels, give me variety. But I just feel like this shot, I feel like there are more shots they could have used than this one. But I do love the concept. This is actually my favorite album cover out of all the album covers, just because I'm like, ooh, En Vogue is really trying to give us like high fashion, which is what I always want from them. But I just feel like the styling, sorry, Danny Flynn, I love you. But I just felt like they could have given us a little bit more, especially if you think about the Whatever. I feel like this look is mirroring the style in the Whatever video. And I feel like what they were wearing this like steampunk look in that like surgery area, all three of them together. I feel like those looks are more album cover rather than this. So it's kind of like, why would you go from that very high fashion, very editorial, very Vogue style to giving them these like Easter Sunday dresses?
Easter Sunday.
If you look at Sydney dress. Okay. If you slap on a cropped white cardigan, Easter Sunday. Same thing with Terry. You slap on a cropped white cardigan, Easter Sunday.
Did you ever Did you ever watch Clueless, the TV show? I think it came on UPN or something.
Yes.
Stacey Dash in one episode, she had on Terry's dress, and that blew my mind for some reason. I was like, what? I didn't know they sold that stuff at the store.
But I bet she looked better because we seen her whole outfit. She wasn't sitting down.
You know, like the back is out. Like you did see that, like her back was out. So it was nice seeing it in motion.
Wait, the back is out?
Mm-hmm.
See,
but maybe I don't know. You know, sometimes there are different designs. But I know Stacey Dash, her back was out, or I should say Dion, because we don't like Stacey Dash anymore.
See, that would have been cute. Like if they would have allowed them to pose to kind of show off the different, peekaboo moments of the outfits that they're wearing. Because I just feel like perhaps these dresses are cuter than what I am assuming, but based on the pose, because mind you, both of Terry and Cindy are posing the same way. Their arms are crossed and it's covering more of the dress. So it's like, based on the pose and the position of them sitting, it's like, if these dresses is cute, I can't tell because you lost it in the photo.
I love this album cover so much. It is like,
shut
Oh my God. It is like, so that being said, there are a few things that I, like you all have said that like certainly like ring true to me. I don't think it sonically matches the album at all whatsoever. Like I think it gives like whatever is the closest, I think, to what musically matches up with this kind of aesthetic. But I look, when I see this and when I first saw it, it got me really excited because I thought we were getting a really dramatic shift in sound. Like I thought we were going to get something grittier, something like a little bit more experimental, a little bit like maybe like dive, like I just was, I had a very clear expectation based off of looking at this, and that was not met, which we'll get to eventually whenever we deep dive into the album. But I would put this on my wall. Like, I love it so much. Like, it is really stunning to me, for a number of reasons. I think, first, like, y'all know I like to give context and time and place and all this other kind of stuff. I think it is so of that time when in like the 96, 97, you had the neo soul stuff coming through. And I think that there was a really interesting like desire to play around with like less shiny, sequiny, glamorous things. And so that's what I think this is trying to do, while also honoring really feminine, like pretty things. And so like, I think that's why the colors are a little bit more dull. I think like that's why they're sitting up against that sort of really dull wall. Like the couch is kind of like this muted color. I don't know. I love it. It like gives me high fashion runway. That being said, I don't love the fact that I think this is bad practice, period, where like you can see most, if not everything, but their feet. I just think that that's bizarre. Like, why chop them off at the like right above the ankles? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Some sickening shoes,
probably. And I will go to my grave not knowing how sickening they look. I love the idea of the natural hair with like the tiara, or like the sort of like this kind of interest. Is it a tiara? I can't actually see. Like it's giving tiara vibes, but like you know
Maxine has like a bow.
Maxine's got the bow.
Tiara.
And
yeah,
like,
I think Terry's a tiara.
And Terry is eating the girls up with this pose and this look. It's just like giving. It's just giving like all the energy and attitude to me, and it was really sad for it to not match the music. I will say that like perhaps one of the things I love the most is how dramatic the makeup is. I think it's like giving really dark eye, like they are clearly like powdered, beat down. And part of that reason is because if you see Matthew Anderson's on there, that's RuPaul's longtime makeup artist up until a couple of years ago. It is giving drag. It is very much giving drag.
And it works.
Yes.
Even the dark, especially the dark lip. I love that dark lip.
Well, I love I think we've talked about this before. Maybe it was Josh who said he loved the EV3 aesthetic, and I do too. I love it. It's just something about the cover. We talked about how Funky Divas, there was like motion, like, I don't know. It just looks like they're sitting on the couch to me. Like they are posing, but it's just like, what is the story? And then this particular photographer, maybe a month or so later, the Release Intention album that SWV did is basically the same couch, or it's a similar colored couch. So I think, you know, when you're working with someone whose iconography is as, you know, lauded as En Vogue's, I just think he could have been a little bit more creative. But at the same time, like you see, there's so many things that we don't see. And I remember there was a promo photo, which it looks like it's from this session. And you've probably seen it, where they're standing. It's different outfits. Like I think they have, like Cindy and Terry have on these kind of, I don't know what you call those, like maybe cut off t-shirts and like mini skirts, and Maxine has a yellow leather type of jacket and jeans on. And so like, it's interesting, you know, why they choose certain things and why they don't. So it would be interesting to know the reasoning behind it. I mean, I like the way they look. I just wish, you know, there was something a little bit more conceptual than sitting on the couch posing, because that's so obvious.
100%.
And so I will say also, we have to give a shout out to the creative people. I think Ali Design is really, he did some really great stuff with En Vogue, because he's the one who did the Whatever single cover. and well, the one that was released in America, because I know of two whatever single covers. I think I have both of them, but the one that was released in America, they have like these kind of clashing prints, which would come, and of course, like, you have to remember my references. I don't really know what was going on in the 80s and the 70s and the 60s and all that stuff. But for me, like, that was the first time for me seeing like kind of clashing prints, someone having on like square pants and then like a dress with circles that's blue, how they mixed and matched that. And well, and I guess he's not the stylist, but just the colors he used, I think it was kind of like a light yellow color for that single cover. So I really love the aesthetic, but even like that one, the whatever. Yes, exactly. Like, they're giving a little bit more, and like they're giving whimsy, kind of hippie, funky. Yes. Whereas with with the EV3 album cover, I just, maybe it shouldn't have been a couch. Maybe they could have been on the floor, or just somewhere. Like, maybe we can see more of the whatever background that it's in to give it kind of a story. And then when the booklet, it doesn't, like, you didn't see anything besides that. That was the only look that they had in the entire booklet.
Even the CD has like a cool picture where I feel like it's giving much more than the album cover is, because they're standing and you can see the outfits. Like, they can, I just feel like when you're standing and you feel like that girl, I feel like you can give more. But when you're sitting down, there's not much you can do, because sitting down translates to being relaxed and comfortable. Right. But you're not supposed to be relaxed and comfortable when you're trying to pose for an album cover. Right. So it's just kind of like, I mean, I like the ladies are selling it, given the circumstances, so it's not their fault. I just feel like, let them stand up. Like, even I just Googled, like, it was like a screenshot from the whatever video, and I'm like, this could have been the album cover. Like, look at how they look amazing, and
it's telling a story. Like, the setting, like, it's just well, of course we know the video, but certain images, they can just kind of capture your attention, and you're looking off into yonder, and there's like this perspective, so it's just like, even like the coloring of the walls, all that stuff. Like, if there's a door somewhere, what's behind the door? Like, it just takes you somewhere, but it's close up on them. Exactly. Yeah, and then, like I said, in the booklet, like, they didn't really kind of deviate from getting up off the couch. I think everything was them still on that couch, and maybe because that couch, I think, like, in the whatever performance from the MTV Movie Awards from 1997, and then even their tour, I think, like, the couch was supposed to be some kind of like recurring prop or motif or something. So maybe that's why. But they still, like you said, there should have been levels or layers. So somebody could have been sitting down, somebody could have been at the arm, somebody could have been sitting on top of it, just to give it, a little bit more of something. Right. Now, I will say, we're talking about fonts. I do love this font. I do too. I think the font is very, very cool. It's aesthetically pleasing. I don't know what it's called, but it just goes so well with the whole concept or whatever. I love this font. But I do agree, to piggyback on what you and Josh said about, like, how, this look doesn't translate to what the album is giving. Because I feel like if you give me this look and then you give me Right Direction, I'm like, that doesn't necessarily go. Or even when you think about how they were styled for the Don't Let Go video, or how they were styled for the Too Gone Too Long video. I feel like you're giving three different type of, you're telling three different type of stories. So there's no cohesion in this era. I mean, granted, this era in itself is a clash because of the breakup and everything. So maybe that's the reason why it ain't cohesive. But I will say that because their styling in the Don't Let Go video was like top tier. I think in all the videos from EV3, I love the styling in all of them. Yes, exactly. Because even in their styling in Too Gone Too Long was amazing. Like those choices
were great. I feel it was definitely from the time, because I'm thinking of that time, like Monica, Aaliyah, Brandy, Maya. It was very much the time they were styled perfectly.
I think Lord, I think Too Gone Too Long is actually like the only space where the styles kind of meet for me, because I think their individual looks give kind of what Don't Let Go was giving, like kind of, and then I think that when they're together, they're kind of giving a little bit more, like I remember Max's outfit in the video being like kind of like, all these things and furry things, and like I don't know, I just remember it feeling a little bit more like out there. But I don't know, I keep having a reference in my head, and I know it's not directly related, but when you think about like the Got Till It's Gone video from Janet Jackson, I think that like specifically in this cover, it feels a lot of like that vibe, like especially Maxine's outfit in this album cover is giving a lot of what I think were like, it was giving sweaters and like kind of dress clothes, like traditional dress clothes, but like in these kinds of colors and styles. It felt retro, but it felt like kind of, I don't know, fresh and different. So I don't know. I get it is very disjointed given the music and the videos being so separate, but as a standalone image, I'm always moved. It's
definitely like on the wall worthy. Like I would put this next to like a Marilyn Monroe poster or like a Dorothy Dandridge poster. Like I would put, or like a Janet poster. I would put it, that would be on that wall of like iconic Black women or iconic female artists. It is in there with those for sure.
Mine would be the Whatever single cover from this era. I think that's the, and I might have had that on my wall because my cousin, they did this signing at the Beverly Center. My cousin went, and he knew I was a big En Vogue fan, so I was like, no, you have to give me that poster. You are not a fan. I'm the fan. Give me that poster. And and I have to say, right. My cousin Joseph, thank you, because he did give it to me. And yeah, I think that is the one that kind of stands out to me the most. And then like the Too Gone Too Long single cover, I didn't know this at the time, but you could kind of tell they did that while they were shooting the Whatever video, which I thought was interesting. So maybe that's kind of the way to keep some type of continuity. But so Matthew Ralston did that, the single cover for Too Gone Too Long. And I just think they had brilliant visual people. It's just the album, I just wish the cover, they could have, I don't know.
Even the I dropped the link in there for y'all just to make it easier, but the No Fool No More cover from the Best Of album kind of gives you those solo shots from what was the EV3 cover, and it is already, I think I want all those photos because I just feel like there's so many things, so many gems that,
I know.
Oh yeah, the single shots, yes. Like even like how Terry is playing with the dimensions. Like she's on the couch, but she's not sitting. Like right. She's playing with her body and she's like posing. Like that is dope to me. Like that should have been,
and that's what gives high fashion to me, is like,
exactly,
I'm doing a simple mundane thing, but I'm gonna give you broken body and weird pose in this sun. Right. like Cindy's like literally in this image I'm looking at, she's like probably like adjusting her shoe or something. Like it's just like the most ridiculous, like sort of like simple right. things, but like when you put the right styling to it and you put the right sort of like vibe and aesthetic to it, it just like elevates it. It just elevates it.
That picture of Terry, the solo shot, that's like cover of a magazine. Like,
and how do we go from that to Southern Girl? How do we get there? Anyway.
Well, how do we get from Southern Gal to this? Because Southern Gal was first, but
yes.
I mean, we're going to get to her album cover in a minute, but because I have things to say. but yeah, the solo shots, I'm like, I would have rather that, like, and that's a recurring theme as well, like where I feel like the ladies are styled from head to toe, but a lot of the promo photos that are chosen it cuts them off. And I'm like, one is, I feel like there needs to be like a universal rule for the En Vogue brand to say, we are not just vocalists. We're fashionistas. People know us for our fashion. So it's like, sis, don't give me this amazing shoe and I can't show it in my photo.
Right.
Don't give me these amazing pants and I can't show them in my photo.
They should have been label girls. Like, they should have been like, right. I'm head to toe in Chanel or whatever.
Look, okay? I'm telling you. But yeah, so.
Okay, friends. Now is where it gets good, y'all.
Oh, it's about to get spicy.
So
JP, we miss your opinion.
JP, we needed you on this one. We needed you.
We need JP to do a reaction episode to this episode.
He needs a reaction to what we're saying.
Where he just like pauses. Where he just pauses us and is like, wrong.
Right.
So next up is Masterpiece Theater, folks. So the photography was done by Marcus Klinko, who you might know from the Emancipation of Mimi album that is from Mariah Carey, David Bowie's Best of Bowie album, as well as Beyonce's Dangerously in Love, and Mary J. Blige, her Growing Pains album. Art direction and design was by Ali, and creative production was from Indrani Inc. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but shout out to them. Digital imaging was from Cyborg NYC. Hair was from Chuck Amos. Makeup was, I'm gonna butcher this, Faridi Uslu, and styling from Marie Dupetit Thuar. I'm gonna mess those names up. And I'm not gonna try again.
You did great.
I thought it was Faraday, but I could be wrong too.
Oh, Meredith. Yeah, that makes sense. Faraday. Yeah. Before
you go in, I do. Cyborg NYC. Count your days. You count your days. You count your days.
And maybe
because what y'all did to Maxine's face is unforgivable.
Criminal.
It's unforgivable. I cannot.
I'm over here Googling to see if they're even in business.
Look.
Yeah. So the thing that I want to name about this album cover before we really let it go in and let have is that it now makes sense a little bit because seeing the photographer was Marcus Klinko. If you are familiar with the Emancipation of Mimi album art or Beyonce's Dangerously in Love album art, it is very much giving, like the treatment on the skin in particular is very in line with how Marcus does most work. It appears. Also, questionable Photoshop on Mariah Carey's album. I love Mariah Carey to death. But Emancipation of Mimi album, there were photos where I thought she didn't look like herself, and go figure, that's also what we're seeing here. I think someone gets really happy with the Photoshop and the airbrushing.
Right.
So that being said, I mean, I'll jump in first. I think the styling is on point. I love the classicness. I love that they're in different colors of outfits. I love that there's different silhouettes kind of happening. They're giving attitude, and the posing is really strong. It is giving high fashion again. Again, we can't see the shoes. Why can't we see the shoes? But I think this is a kind of, it's a little throwback. It's a little more Funky Divas approach. It's not maybe as jarring as EV3. And it gives more silky, shinier fabrics, but it's also still sort of classic grown woman. So I think this really is successful in being in line with the En Vogue brand as a whole at the time. But it really is distracting because I can't get past whoever this woman is on the left, because it's not Maxine.
Papa! Who this woman?
One thing I will say about Marcus Klinko is that he loves the women, at least from what the shots that I've seen, he loves his women in the satin, these silk fabrics, because they're very flowy. They when the light hits them right and you have a fan going, it looks like water. You know what I mean? So I definitely love the outfit choices. I do wish that Maxine was wearing a different color. I think the choice to put her in all black, it wasn't a good choice, because you have Cindy and Terry in this like red wine, red color, in this like very muted purple. The fabric hugging their body, it looks amazing, but Maxine's figure gets lost a lot. You know, I mean, the detail on the shoulder is cool, but I just feel like I don't like. They should have put her in a different color. I don't, maybe silver, maybe gold. Perhaps they could have put her in like
or
like
green.
Blue.
Like they could have
like a beautiful green color could have been something.
They're kind of giving
like,
gems, like gemstone colors here.
Yeah. So putting them, it literally when I remember the day that I bought this album. And obviously, you know, years before, Dawn left the group. It was 3 of them, yada, yada. So when I bought this album cover, I was like, oh my God, it's a new girl. Literally, I promise you. I was like, they got a new girl in Vogue. Mind you, because I just saw the Riddle video. So I'm like, well, Maxine is there. But I was like, who's this woman? I'm telling you, they botched. If I was Maxine, look, I don't understand it, but I just feel like artists need to have some sort of final approval. It should not be on the studio or the production company to approve the final photo. Because even like, I remember it was a controversy with Zendaya. She did I don't know if y'all remember this, but she did a photo shoot and they photoshopped her body to look even skinnier than what she was. No. I'm sorry. I got them mixed up. They photoshopped her body to make her booty look bigger than what
that's two totally different things.
Right. And so she's like, I'm a slim girl. Like, this is my body and I'm proud of my body. So don't try and, Photoshop me to look like I have features that I don't. You know what I mean? And I respect that. So I'm just like, the Photoshop had, like, y'all are tripping. So it's like, they should have sent this to Maxine and she would have been like, who this woman?
Has she ever spoken on it?
I would love for her to speak on this on our podcast. I would love, but what do you guys think?
It's like the elephant in the room. It's the elephant in the room, because I was thinking the same thing. And I was like, has anybody talked about this? Like, are we all just expected to pretend like this never happened?
The album cover as a whole, I
love it.
I love the album cover. It's just those little small details that if you look at it long enough, it takes you out of it. Literally. I'm like, don't put her in black. Don't Photoshop her face. And I feel like she's wearing braids. And Chuck Amos, I respect you, young man, but you clearly don't know how to style braids. Because there are a whole bunch of other styles you could have done other than put her braids in this weird ponytail thing.
Well, before I get into it, it's just interesting to me, like, when you think about a photo shoot, particularly with the group, and I believe there was an article about this, maybe from the Funky Divas era, where they were talking about, like how a makeup artist probably is going to need a team, and you're going to have to work on one person, then you work on the next person, but while you're working on the third person, the first person, has to kind of be sitting there so nothing happens to the makeup. But you're going through multiple looks, sometimes multiple hairstyles, and I wonder, do the creative directors, the photographers, the stylists, do they know which one is going to be the cover, how that's decided? Because there's a picture, and you might have seen it like that, and I think Cindy might have actually posted it because our fearless leader, Matt, was asking for it. But like behind the scenes pictures, and one of them, you could tell it was from the Masterpiece Theater era, and they have these great looks to me, in my opinion. Like, I love the way they looked, and it's untouched. It's like, but it's a behind the scenes picture, so it's like a candid. And for whatever reason, I'm sure they took pictures in those outfits, but those weren't used. But you can kind of see, okay, Maxine was there. So like, I would just wish there was like video of the actual photo shoot. But now to get into the photo, the actual cover, I like the cover. It's probably my second favorite. So I get to be controversial on this one. I think Cindy to me, like, you know, like certain people, I guess, win and they just, you know, get everything. To me, she got the best dress, the best hair. She has the best look. She's in the middle. But she just, you know, like, it was like she is like the star in that particular shoot. And I like that it's kind of timeless in the sense you can't really place it. Like, you can say, is it Grecian? Is it Roman? Is it mythology? Is it just high fashion? What is it? They're kind of like in front of maybe a sunset. So are they up in the sky? Are they standing on a river and, you know, overlooking the horizon? It's kind of telling a story to me. I love it. I think Maxine, I can kind of tell it's her. It's the Riddle single cover where it's like, okay, what is going on with that? To me is the one who doesn't, I can't see a trace of Maxine on the Riddle single cover. So I would just like to see the behind the scenes photos, the untouched photos. Those have to be there somewhere. So that's what I would like to see. Regarding though, if it fits the music, I think is very on brand, but the music to me did not match what the cover was given, because the cover to me is very timeless. It's kind of like old meets new, because you have like this kind of like, to me, it's, the styling is just, I can't place it. It's anachronistic, whereas the music, it sounded very dated, Masterpiece Theater. And I know they tried to incorporate the classical stuff, but just the way it sounded with the drum machines and the keyboards, it just was very dated. There was, you know, it wasn't like old meets new, whereas with the picture, it's digital meets, I guess, you know, classic. It was just old and tired and dated and through. So I feel like the cover is much better than the music.
You know what I would have loved is if they had, to your point, like, it's kind of giving muses to me. Like,
right.
If they had actually just put them on pedestals or something and then like pulled it back so you saw them actually like up, like elevated, like they're like sort of these classic statuesque like women of like, and that would I think have tied better to like the use of classical music throughout the album. So like it would have felt more thematic, because I totally get that. Like, I think that's it. It's almost the whole concept. It's just like they needed something else. Yeah,
I don't like the background. The album is called Masterpiece Theater, and it's, you know, when I think of the album, I'm getting like Broadway. You know, they have that song that kind of plays into the Nutcracker, you know, music or whatever.
Oh, okay.
You know, so I'm like, when you think of like Masterpiece Theater, I'm thinking I would have chosen a different set, like, you know, give me like a red curtain, you know, give me a stage, like give me theater, you know. It would have been even cooler, like, to see like the stylist do some outfits inspired by the Nutcracker or inspired by old school Broadway, even like Marie Antoinette or something like that. You know, that would have been cool to kind of go with the theme of what the album is supposed to be. Even when you think I even like the Riddle album cover, that single cover, but like you said, Matan, Maxine's face is just like, who is this woman?
I think that there's something to be said about, and this is all like conjecture, so I don't know what's actually was the conversation here, but I think that, you know, this was a time when pop music and pop stars were starting to look a particular kind of way. Like, there was an emphasis on body in a way that I don't think that we had really seen as heavy or as like important. Like, it was more important to be pretty than to be talented, I think, when you saw like pop stars of the 2000s.
Absolutely.
And so I think that's why we see like this kind of like this kind of digital manipulation on Maxine, because even like the idea that they like made them all the same height, like exactly, when we know them to be of different heights, and even the idea of putting her in black, I think was them maybe trying to, you know, we know black is a slimming thing, and there was always this sort of like conversation or like whatever. Like I think that they were doing all these things to, if maybe they didn't say it as heavy handedly, but maybe what they were trying to do is manipulate this to make her look and fit more of a mold that the other two women fit a little bit more of that time. Because I even think that they didn't, all three are touched by the tools here.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
of course.
all three
touched
are.
by the tools.
Right. But like Maxine just got the really shitty end of it because of like, the face is just, that's not Maxine. That's like, that's not any version of Maxine. That is another woman's face. Like, you can't tell me otherwise. I don't know what kind of manipulation was done. Show me the photo shoot.
Yes, show us the photo shoot.
I will say that the legs though are iconic. I'm telling you, Cindy and Terry's leg, it's otherworldly. I'm like,
even
Angelina,
why can't Maxine get no leg?
Yeah, why can't no leg? Even to me, her pose is awkward. Like I feel like, you know, I understand that the photographer is like going for something. So I feel like, you know, Terry, I don't know if this is like them all together, or probably this is like 3 separate solo shots put together, which I feel like that may be what it is. But I feel like he probably is, to me, and this is just me hypothesizing, this could probably be Terry and Cindy's best looks. You know, I mean, best poses. So he's like, let's put this together. It's like, okay, well, what pose is Maxine doing that best fits with this, that gives it like a balance? I feel like Maxine had some other shots that could have been done. And once again, you're cutting off the feet. We cannot see the shoes. Marcus Linko is a great photographer. I will say that. And even I had threw shade, a little bit of light shade at Chuck Amos, but he's dope. Like, his work is amazing. He's done Alicia Keys, he's done Brandy, and he works with natural hair. So perhaps it's the pose that is really hiding whatever style he gave.
I would just like to blame everything on Cyborg and why, even if it's unwarranted. It's all their fault.
Imaging.
It's all their fault. It's their fault. Everybody else is amazing.
Cyborg digital imaging.
Exactly.
Also, now we're getting into the gift of Christmas. We're going to get into it and get out of it. No, I'm just kidding. You know I don't like this record. But okay,
no,
so
we can't.
Okay, all right. So the photographer is Robert Seabury. Worked with Annie Lennox on Nostalgia, Tom Petty on An American Treasurer. The makeup artist was our all-time favorite, Troy Jensen. We miss you, Troy. We want you to start doing their makeup again. You're great. Hairstylist was Robert Bedeca, another great veteran. I think he's the one who had them in the faux locks for the whatever performance at the 1997 MTV Movie Awards. Wardrobe stylist Timothy Snell. So I'll just go first because this is all I'm gonna say. I mean, some of the looks, I mean, it was glamour. So I think when you think of En Vogue, you think of glamour. The album to me just wasn't much. It doesn't get you into a Christmas mood. Like when you see purple, you don't think of Christmas. I'm indifferent to it, and that's all I'll say.
I don't like it. Never have, never will. It looks cheap. And once again, the choice to have them pose covering their clothes is so weird to me. Like, why are they posing where you can't see Terry's whole dress and see Cindy's whole dress? You can see now. Homegirl Amanda is serving. Amanda is serving.
This is leaning, you know what I mean? For her life.
Okay, but I feel like Cindy and Terry get lost, and the picture is too far away. I understand like the concept of like, let's put him in a snow globe, but perhaps you should have thought about that again, because putting him in a snow globe, it makes him look so small. So it's like, what's the purpose of giving them hair and makeup if we can't even see it? Right. You know what I mean? Like, I can't see anything. There's too much purple. There's too much negative space. I don't like the font. The Gift of Christmas is that font. It's very displaced and doesn't match the En Vogue font. I don't understand what these two dark purple strips are supposed to be. They're supposed to be like
wrapping paper.
A present.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, like, is that what?
Yeah.
I just feel like it's a miss.
It's a lot of Christmas concepts in one thing. It's like snow globe, like there's this all white outfit thing, which feels saint-like or something, but it's like sexy. I don't know. Like, and then there's the wrapping
like
paper.
Angel. It's like sexy angel.
Right, like sexy angel trapped in a snow globe on top of a wrapping paper. Like, it just doesn't, it's all of the things at the same time. And that's what I kind of dislike about it. I don't think the font is just irritating my soul. How weird and mismatched the En Vogue type is from the Gift of Christmas type. But again, I'm going to chalk it up to like budget things and time, and folks were just getting into their Photoshop, Microsoft Paint, whatever kind of they were living for.
Exactly.
And so they were like, ooh, we can emboss this, or ooh, we can have this we can have this have a texture around it or something. And like, I get that that's what maybe they were trying to go for, but it just like, there are elements. I think the photo is probably gorgeous if we could see it. I think like the idea of a snow globe is a great idea if it was not on wrapping paper and if the snow globe was not this tiny. So like, it's just like, there were things again that would have worked. It was just the execution is, they could have just grabbed the Masterpiece Theater cover, swapped Maxine's face for Amanda's face, put them in some Santa hats, and had the snow falling, and it would have been better to me than this. Like, it is just, it's an odd cover. It's odd.
Yeah. And it sucks because it looks like Terry and Cindy's white dresses are like super, super gorgeous. I just cannot tell. It sucks. It totally sucks. So moving on to the Soulflower album cover. The photographer was Renee Moncada. The art director, we believe, may be Judd Fleming, but there is no makeup or stylist or wardrobe because
it's a stock photo.
It's a stock photo. I was so disappointed in this album cover.
I was
because mind you, I even remember they did have a photo shoot for this album. I remember watching a cute little like, I think it was like a 10-minute like docu-series of not docu-series, but like a cute little like mockumentary of like them talking about making the album. Rona talking about coming into the group. Like, they had these curly fros with flowers in their hair, this kind of like disco looking era that I thought was cute for them. And then you give me this stock photo because it's a flower? You have got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. But also, when you look at the promotional photos that they use to promote this album, I even remember in Jet magazine, there was a promo photo of all three of them, promoting the album. Because I ordered the album off those like little promos of like, oh, get 10 CDs for 10 cents. Mm-hmm. I got the album for that. but there's this if you notice, like, the ladies in this new era with Cindy, Rona, and Terry, they do the exact same pose concept every single time. The three of them standing side by side. Cindy's in the middle. Terry's hand on her shoulder, and then Rona's on the side giving you a shoulder. It's like, it's kind of the same concept. I feel like there's not any like other type of direction. The girls, they look amazing, but then they show up and they say, okay, we know what to do. We're going to pose 1, 2, 3. Okay, goodbye. Thank you for your services. And that's it. And I'm just kind of like, give me something a little different. But this album cover, as a fan, I feel disrespected, and I'm going to shut up.
I'm going to give the album cover the same thing it gave me. Nothing. That's it.
Y'all, okay, so y'all might be surprised with what I'm going to say.
Shut up, Josh.
Actually, no, that was like a bit of a fake out because
okay, I was going to say.
I will say the thing that stands out to me about, I think when I first saw this album cover, was that I was like, okay, this is giving a certain vibe. So I was like, again, I always look for the aesthetic to understand what it's giving musically, and it didn't give any of what I thought that the cover would, like, musically, it didn't give anything that I thought that the cover was giving. Because the font is very retro. The font is very, like, flower powery. The photo itself is kind of giving, like, again, like, earth tones. Like, and so I was just like, okay, maybe we're going to go in a different direction here. And it didn't match up. So, like, I can't really say anything about it because I don't know what the concept was. It feels like a bit of an afterthought. I'm like, y'all didn't have a photo hanging around to just like, cause I'm someone who doesn't need a whole lot of razzle dazzle on an album cover. Like, I love a lot of albums where it's just a photo, no font, no nothing. It's just like a striking image. And so I'm like, y'all couldn't have dug into something to find like a photo that worked.
Mind you, this is Rona Bennett's introduction as an official member of En Vogue. Like, you're on an album. You're not just touring as like a fill-in. You know what I mean? Like, you actually are on an album,
right, with
leads and everything. So I feel like this could have been like her visual introduction to the group, where she has an album cover on there. Because mind you, Rona Bennett serves and has been serving for decades. So the fact that she was, and then the promo photos that they do have for this album, Rona is smack dab in the middle. You know, so I just think that it sucks that this is an album cover that this is Indie Irie album cover. this is a Jill Scott album cover. You know what I mean? This is like a Lauryn Hill album cover where she's like, I'm not doing a photo shoot. I'm putting out my album. You guys can find some on Google and do whatever you want to.
They could have even gave me regular, like solid, like color background and just done something interesting with the font, and I would have appreciated a little bit more. Right. I just don't know, who is this child?
Right.
Okay. The flower couldn't have been pink or red or like orange or something.
Again, they could have just taken the Masterpiece Theater album cover, put Rona's face on it, and then put some flowers in their hands or something. Like, Well, that takes us from the Soulflower era to Electric Cafe. So the photographer for the Electric Cafe album cover was Ben Dugan. The art director was Paul Grasso. Makeup by Mila Thomas. Hairstyling by Alexander Armand. And wardrobe styling by the late Michael Mann.
R.I.P.
Yes, because he did the damn thing on this
baby,
one.
He turned it out.
This is what I expect. This is what I expect.
Yes.
But yeah, who wants to dive in first?
Well, since I didn't have anything to say about Soulflower, like it didn't have anything to say about itself, I will say, I like what Cindy and Rona are doing. Terry ruined it for me with that hand on the hip. I hate that, and the smile, like it's just so opposite of what they're doing. But I like the back cover maybe should have been the front cover, because like they're all, giving that, like where those girls type of look. Whereas this one is like Terry's just like, like they caught it in between takes or something. So I don't like that. And then just from Masterpiece Theater to Soulflower to this record, it's like they have these titles that don't really deliver. Like, it's like they're trying to be genre specific, but it never is that. It just becomes like thrown together. So Electric Cafe, it was supposed to be electronic dance music, and it wasn't. It wasn't even dance. Like, I don't know what it was, so I can't really. So I can say that the cover to me doesn't really give what the album was supposed. It's just. Yeah. Oh, I'm tired.
I will say that I do remember Rona doing an interview, and she talking about the direction of the album was very dance, you know,
and it's not.
And right, and then I remember later on she did another interview saying that, you know, well, we were experimenting with sounds, and the album kind of went into a different direction. And I was kind of like, well, sis, you should have took a left turn instead of a right turn, because it just. I mean, now the concept of this cover with Electric Cafe, it makes perfect sense, just because the metallic and the silver with the textures of their outfits, it all goes so well. But once again, they are cut off from the. Now there is a photo of them full body. Mm-hmm. I would have preferred that be the album cover versus it being like this close up shot, just because that photo is so freaking dope. But I'm just kind of like, what's the purpose of all these photos? I mean, what's the purpose of hiring all these people for these head-to-toe looks, and then the photo you choose, it just covers it all? Like, you can't see the full body dress, you can't see the shoes, you know what I mean? Like, even in the full body shot, Terry is doing another pose that I feel like goes better with, you know, the entire concept, versus you know when you be out and you see a group of girls posing for a photo and they're ready, then one girl come out of the bathroom, she's like, "Oh my God, wait for me," and then she on the toe, and she go head on heel. Like, that's what Terry
exactly.
She coming from the bathroom. She's like, "Oh my God, wait, hold on, I'm coming to pose too." And then she like poses. And it's like, no, girl, that's not what we're giving, because Cindy and Rona are definitely serving. I'm telling you, Rona in this over the shoulder it's like her signature, because it's amazing. Like, it's amazing.
I just love everything about the styling and the hair and the makeup here. Like, I think that it's cool that they're giving 3 different kind of hair looks, which is like really, really dope. Like Rona and this like bang and bob, like what? Like, it's so good. Cindy giving you, I always love when Cindy gives me middle part bone straight, like inches upon inches upon inches. Yes. Like, girl.
Yes.
And then Terry giving all the bundles in the back. I'm just like,
yes.
Ugh, it just, my little gay boy heart just exploded when I saw this. And I think that like y'all said, I think that maybe there might be other like photos that are probably much stronger, or like, you know, a little bit more of the outfits or whatever. But I just love that this was a direction they went. So I'll take it. Like, I'll take it. The problem for me really is the fonts. I don't understand all the things happening with the fonts. Like, it's the En Vogue is like, it's all competing.
Yes.
That, baby.
Yes. That should have, that back cover should have been the front cover.
The art should have switched. The back of the album cover should be the front, and the front of the album cover should be the back. 100%.
And they should have, like, I think that was a strong enough image. I just needed a small little Electric Cafe in the right corner or something, and then like offset it on the left bottom corner with En Vogue, and like let the photo do the work, right? But all of these things are competing to me for my attention, and I want to go to the women. Obviously, that's where I'm going to go first. I'm going to go to the group members, but like, I'm also like, God, like the Electric is in one font, and that's kind of cool. The Cafe is like a little bit of an afterthought. It's in like a more boring font. And then like the En Vogue like sort of logo is now in this other font that I don't really love, generally speaking.
I hate that font. I hate it.
And I was like, where did the classic En Vogue, like, this was the time to use the classic font treatment. And so I was just like, okay, there's just too much happening, and it's all like big behind them. It feels magazine covery, like not as like, the layout is just kind of like driving me a little crazy. But that being said, I can say as much sort of critique as I want about it. They just look phenomenal. They look stunning.
So yay, that's a positive one. So they ended on a positive note. Hopefully we get another album cover soon, and hopefully it's a 10 out of 10. I would love it if Steven Meisel or Paolo Roversi photograph it, but a boy can wish. So now we're going to get into singles and EPs. And they have to have En Vogue on the cover. And I mean, I guess we could just throw out our favorites because there's so many. There's probably so many different versions. There's international versions. So does any single in particular stick out to you? Single cover?
The En Vogue Runaway Love single cover is my favorite one.
Oh yes, that's a good one.
It's my favorite one. It's so playful. They're all giving like different things. Which I love. It shows personality. I mean, it obviously doesn't go with the song because the video and the song are like a whole different vibe. but the single cover as a whole, that will go on my wall as well.
I love that one. Yeah, they're kind of like, it's ballerina to me. I can't really see, but that's what it looks like. Like, you can't see the outfits, but it looks like ballerina, and like the way their toes are kind of pointed. It's, very classic dance.
Mine are, so it should, after I just like fangirled about the whatever or about the EV3 album cover, it should be no question that I'm gonna love the whatever single covers. Both of them, I love both of them for different reasons. So like there's the one where there's like the clash of the patterns where they're all wearing those like random patterns, and like Max is giving you fro, and then like Terry's kind of giving you like weird like off center like Pippi Longstocking. Right. And then like Cindy's giving you like pull back. I just love it. Just was fun. And I remember having that like CD in hand and like staring at the photo because I thought it was so fashion. It was so different. I also really love the other cover where it's like the individual shots like composite together. Mostly because of Maxine. I think Maxine is like, she's like giving you this like kind of what we would call like a less like traditionally pretty sort of like face moment where it's like screaming almost or something. And I just think that that's so much attitude. Yes. I just love when they give attitude and they're not afraid to sort of step outside of the traditional pretty thing. So those stand out to me a lot. Again, I think that maybe those looks weren't as indicative for the whole album, but I think that they work for whatever, especially like, I love them.
I think I would say, well, I know we just went on and on and on about the Riddle single cover, but for the looks, the looks are just great. Like, it's just so 2000s high fashion, and I love the hair and the jewelry, the little accents here and there. So for that, I love it. But I think probably my all-time favorite is the Don't Let Go. I mean, there's so many, so I do want to give a shout out to the Don't Go, where they have they kind of look like the Muses before the Muses, but Don't Let Go, it's just, because it's like them laughing on the floor. Like, I just thought that was brilliant. Like, it's not just, an average pose. It's like emotion. Like, what are they laughing at? Is Terry telling a joke? What's the story? And it's like, it's just that kind of harmonious, like, we love each other. And so it's so strange to see what happened, like, right after the song. But it just is like, I don't think I've seen a group photo like that where they're just out on the floor just cracking up. That was a brilliant idea. And I remember Don telling a story about that shoot, and she said there was another look from that photo shoot which we haven't seen, so that I'm sure, like, if that's ever released, that's gonna send the fans crazy. But it's just, you want to see a group interacting like a group sometimes, not just always posing and giving model, but like we're like see that sisterhood,
like loving each other and like friendship. And you see the shoes.
The next, we're actually going to go through like a couple of the ladies' solo singles really quickly. Terry Ellis, Southern Gal. The photographer is Enrique Badulescu. He also worked with Tony on the Sons of Soul album. Inks on the Disappear. Rolling Stones on their Almost Hear You Sigh album. Art director is Ollie Designs again. Makeup by Troy Jensen again. Hairstylist is Idris Nichols again. And wardrobe stylist by Alex White. I don't like this album cover at all. I don't like this album cover at all. It's not inspiring. I don't know why they put her in all black. You can't even see the freaking outfit. Putting her in a hat, covering her bodacious hair that could have been. It's kind of like, how are you listing a hairstylist when you can't even see the hair? And then even the point is like you can't even see her face, like it's cut off. Bye.
I don't like it either. And I remember like record stores, and I always have to go back to the warehouse. I guess there were multiple warehouse musics. There was one, I think, on La Cienega, and then there was one on Centinela right off of, you know what? Well, near La Cienega, but it's two different ones. And so I remember the one on La Cienega, like, you thought she was about to do something because they had this album cover just in the window, like obviously a huge version of it, like a huge poster. Like, that's not country to me. It's not Southern. It's just like, are those tights and then some kind of shirt with a bucket hat, and none of it
some kind of shirt. I don't know. I can't see it. And then it's like when I pointed out the sepia filter for the Funky Divas album because it's kind of like you can see the black still, the textures, all of it. I feel like if you were going to put her in all black, choose a different filter so we can see what her freaking outfit is. But if this is just a regular button-down black shirt and some regular black slacks, and you just was like, oh, let's just button it down so we can see a bra, and y'all thought that was going to be fast and forward.
It's giving Calvin Klein. Like, it's giving the Gap. It's giving the Gap. That's what it's giving me. Like, you remember those Gap ads where they would just have people dancing, like, in black and white? Like that's what it's kind of giving me. And I don't hate that, but I don't want that for an album cover. Like, that could have been a cute moment in an insert or for something else, but like for your debut solo album, and this is sort of the way we're moving. Okay, like I do love the pose. I think like it's kind of feels like she's dancing a little bit or something, or she's in motion or in movement, which I love. I love the font treatment. I think it's kind of cool how like it's the same font, just sort of played with like contrast and size and stuff. And I love the colors. But the outfit, I just imagine this same pose if you kept everything the same and just swapped out the outfit and the hat and gave her a real fierce hair moment and maybe gave her some of that lingering like EV3 era kind of vibe. That would have been much more interesting to look at. This feels very matronly. It feels very matronly.
They totally dropped the ball out. Well, not they. Alex White, yes, he took like everything but the outfit. Like Josh said, like if just the outfit was different, and it's so strange because I think it's the "What Did I Do to You" single cover, which for some reason I always thought it was like a cover, but it's the actual dress, like the purple dress. Like if she had that on this cover, like men would have just been buying it, not even listening to the record. They just would have wanted to have that picture. And I know it's not always about that, but I'm just saying, like you're trying to sell something, so you're gonna sell it any way you can. Like why? Like it's just so closed off, and it has a lot to do with just that horrible styling from Alex White.
I also love that there's a hairstyling credit when we don't see any hair. But anyway. But speaking of hair, I think we can agree that there's a wonderful hair moment in this next album cover that we're going to talk about, which is Rona's debut solo album. The photographer,
the first lady of Dark Child.
The photographer was Rod Spicer, who did work with Mary J. Blige, Vanessa Williams, Winona, and the Dixie Chicks. So kind of an interesting cast of folks there. Art directing was by Rhyme Massand, makeup by the legendary Sam Fine, hairstyling by, again, interestingly, Idris Nichols, wardrobe styling by Kent Belden, and A Whole Lot of Face by Rona Bennett. What do y'all think about this one?
Okay, I like the inserts better. Like, I think she looks so beautiful here.
Ooh.
Like, I think that should have been the cover. But, I mean, I have no...
I think the second one, that one, where her eyes are closed, that could be album cover.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, that's a good... Like, I like the inside of it, of the... a little bit more. So...
Right, okay.
I do, too.
But I have no issues with the cover. Maybe just, I would have liked to see it. Like, it looks like the light is shining right on her face. I like that the hair is in motion. Like Josh said, there's a hair moment. There's like I like the hair moment, but to me it's just like I don't know. Maybe it's the light on her face. I don't have anything wrong with it. I don't hate it. I like it, but I just feel like the shots inside were better, which is strange to me. Like the cover. That's what everybody judges you by. It's what they first see. They shouldn't, but that's what they do. So I feel like they should use one of the stronger pictures. I will say that the choice to cut her head off is interesting, just because I know that a rule of thumb for photography is that you have to have some type of space between the head. Like, I think it's called the rule of thirds. So it's like the fact that they're cutting off her forehead at that, right there, it's a very interesting choice. I am learning so much this episode with y'all too. Y'all are... our history extraordinaires.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also kind of like back and forth. Like, I can understand like having that little strand of hair covering her neck, but then it's kind of like it's really awkward. Why not just give her a choker or something if you were trying to fill in that space with her skin? I don't know. But I mean, but that's just me being nitpicky. It looks like a CoverGirl ad, honestly.
It does.
Nice.
It does.
Like Easy Breezy Beautiful CoverGirl, honestly.
This is so it's so pretty. It's like, but that's what it is, right? It's pretty. It's like it's giving magazine editorial not catalog, but like it's giving very commercial modeling. Whereas those inserts, I think, have much more artistic sort of like, even though they're simple, I think there's something about them that is a little bit more artsy and a little bit more like edgy. Even the way that it's framed, like how they frame her face in those other photos, I think is just a little bit more creative. This is gorgeous. She looks gorgeous, but I think it is, but again, I think it matches the music. I don't know. I don't have issues with this album cover. It's just when something is better elsewhere, you kind of you're like, oh, this could have been another photo.
Now it's time for Miss Dawn Robinson. She did release a solo record, so I've heard. I've never seen it. Now I'm seeing it. The photographer is Troy Jensen, En Vogue's longtime makeup artist, who I just will give the most kudos to. I think he's their all-time best makeup artist, in my opinion. I just love him. And, let me just go off on a little tangent really quick, because there's a great story. We're talking about Roberta Leon. Dawn told a story where she, I guess, they didn't like the Born to Sing album cover. Roberta Leon was like, "This is tired." Your makeup artist, who I guess it was Tara Posey, is tired. So there's this young man sleeping on our sleeping on his friend's couch. You should hire him. He's great. And that young man ended up being Troy Jensen. Wow. And look at all the incredible things he's done with the group.
Yes, I love that.
I do too. That's a great story. And then just one more shout out to En Vogue, because like I remember when they won that American Music Award, they shouted out their glam squad, which is, like I said, my references. I don't remember what happened a lot in the 80s. I don't remember anything of the 70s or the 60s because I wasn't there. But for me, like that's like the first time like people really acknowledged on a grand stage the glam squad. Right. So I thought that was beautiful. It was Troy Jensen, I think Eric Maziere, and maybe it was Danny Flynn. So anyway, so the photographer of Dawn's solo record was Troy Jensen. The art director is Goldfinger. Goldfinger. Makeup, Vanessa Evelyn. Hairstylist, Trey Major. Wardrobe, Lisa Michelle. And she's giving boobs, and more boobs, which she always gave in En Vogue. So I think it, that's Dawn for you.
I love how loyal.
What do y'all think?
I love how loyal they are. Like, I think that it's kind of cool to see names repeated across like projects.
Right.
I think it, like, that feels intentional. Like, they know this is gonna work for me, and so like the relationship was there. So like, let's keep the relationship going, even if it was like into solo projects or whatever. So I love that, like, that kind of loyalty was there, even if it wasn't within the group. But, you know, I think this is pretty. I think this is very Dawn. It feels very Dawn. I would have loved, and this is me being nitpicky, I would have loved if they scaled it back a little bit so we got more body. If they centered that sucker and put the Dawn right above her head. I wanted it centered. It feels, there's so much white space on that left-hand side. I don't know what's supposed to be there.
Way too much negative space.
But other than that, like, she's giving face, she's giving body. Everything looks good. I ain't mad at it.
When the makeup is amazing, she looks gorgeous. The boobs are boobing like 100%. Heck, even her armpit looks amazing. Like, you know what I mean? It was like, yes, armpit, worked on armpit.
She giving elbow and armpit. Okay, that's hard.
You know what I mean?
All the girls can't do that.
They cannot. But I think she looks gorgeous. I even love the choice to put Dawn Robinson in that font over the Dawn font, which is a little bit transparent because it kind of blends into the background of the album cover. But that's a cool choice. But I agree with you about, like, it's too much negative space on the left side. Like, why would you put, why, you know? I understand the aesthetic part of it, where it's like, you know, putting a subject in the corner of a photo, but usually that happens because you're going to put font there. So it's like, why would you make that choice and there's only font in the top corner? You know what I mean? It's a very, very weird choice. They probably should have did what Rona did and put her name on the side going up vertically. That would have made more sense if that was that. And then because her album is self-titled, why put her name twice?
Right.
Like, Dawn Robinson, Dawn. Like, that's it's redundant, you know. But like I said, that's just me being nitpicky. But at the end of the day, I also think it's dope that, you know, Troy Jensen has been a makeup artist, and she was like, okay, he wants to get into photography. Well, do my album cover, and you know, he captured this beautiful shot of her. So shout out to Troy Jensen, going from couch surfing to art direction, you know, Grammy nominees. Like, that's awesome. I love that whole story. So yeah.
And we would love to have you on the show. Come on the show, Troy.
So now it's time for our submitted letters. But first, if you have questions, comments, or anecdotes, email them to us at partofusevf@gmail.com, or you can send us a DM on Instagram and we will read them on an upcoming episode.
So first up, we have an email from Joel. Hi, Joel. Thanks for listening. And Joel says, hi, guys. Big fan of the podcast. Always a joy to listen to. I was pleasantly surprised to hear a snippet of 1,000 Times on the recent episode. I love that song. One of their recent better ones, in my opinion. I never understood why it didn't make it onto Electric Cafe. Also, I think there are a few gems that only made it as bonus tracks at most and would have deserved more. Next to 1,000 Times, It's About Love, and Keep Your Money come to mind. Why do you guys think that some songs are only bonus tracks? Thanks, Joel.
Well, Joel, thank you so much for your letter. Thank you so much for the warm message. I will say my thinking of It's About Love is that Dawn had a songwriting credit, and so that probably would have made it difficult to put on the record with her leaving and sign, you know, just all of the legalities of it. And I'm thinking that's probably why we got Does anybody hear me? Which just kind of seemed like they just went into the studio and like, we have 10 minutes. Let's just figure something out. We have a deadline. So I think that's probably why It's About Love didn't make it on the record 1,000 times was, as you know, for the Christmas movie. And maybe they didn't think it fit onto Electric Cafe, which was strange because nothing fit together on that record. I don't know the thinking. And Keep Your Money, it was released, I believe, on the Japan record. There was a lot of tracks. So, they probably wanted 12 in America. We have short attention spans, so maybe 16 or 15 tracks is too long. Who knows? Right. But we're happy you liked them, and thank you so much for listening to us.
This is where my En Vogue fan card can get revoked because I am like a newbie when it comes to all of their unreleased tracks. It just never dawned on me to even like search for them. But I literally just heard It's About Love and Keep Your Money today. It's About Love is one of my favorites out of which was listed. But yeah, I do agree that there are some unreleased tracks that should have been chosen. I feel like It's About Love goes better on the EV3 album than a couple ones that were actually chosen for that album. And even when it comes to like bonus tracks on Electric Cafe, I honestly can hypothesize that the sound direction for the album was going in so many directions. They probably were just trying to figure out, well, what do we sound best on, and let's just release it, and then whatever hits, that's what we'll perform. You know what I mean? No shade to the ladies or the people, but I just feel like the direction of the album, it kind of got a little convoluted. So I would love to hear them actually perform Electric Cafe, because I feel like outside of it being super long, I think that it would be a fun song to perform. Honestly, I would love to see like the choreography, even like the outfits if they wanted, to change it up or whatever. But yeah.
All right, so our next email is from Dylan. I love that name. Hi, Dylan. Dylan says, absolutely love tuning into the podcast. Why, thank you so much. When every new episode comes out, and you guys have me cracking up. For that, thank you. As Miss Donna Robinson is my favorite member. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding with you, Dylan. My question is about her. Whilst I don't agree with her views on the pandemic, I think she had the most potential to go solo and become a success post-EV. Okay. My question is, while she was doing her IG Live media tour, shade, did you learn anything you did not know about EV? And do you ever think that she would reunite with EV? Also, what happened to that book? Keep up the stellar entertainment and all the best, Dylan. Oh, thank you, Dylan. Thank you. What did happen to that book? Well, I listened to a lot of the interviews, so I will say that there's some things that I did not know. I did not know that they met. Well, I knew that they met Whitney Houston, but I love her story of her, because she goes into detail. Like, she'll have, like, I was talking about this earlier, her Instagram lives are about 2 hours with each person. So she'll give good talk if you know how to just focus her energy a little bit. So I love that story about the group meeting Whitney and Don asking who her vocal coach was, and her like looking at Don and saying, God is my vocal coach, but you should ask Anita Baker who her vocal coach is. She has a vocal coach. And I love, like, I didn't know that the group met Diana Ross. I just always had assumed that there was tension between them, but they met Diana Ross. There's just a lot of stuff that she talked about. She goes very in depth. I think I said earlier in this podcast about how she was talking about an unreleased photo of the original 4 during the Don't Let Go photo shoot. So there were a lot of great moments in her IG live tour. I didn't get to listen to them all, but from what I did hear, there was some interesting stuff. And I can't tell you what happened to the book, but I will donate paper and ink.
I cannot.
Oh my God.
So I will say this. If Dawn released a book, I feel like I would read it.
I would.
Honestly. I would read it. So I would I would be here for her releasing a tell-all book. You know, not even about En Vogue, but just about her life in general. I keep saying this. I don't know much about Dawn. I don't know who she is outside of En Vogue. So give me a book, girl, so I can know who you are. And I'll probably give you more flowers than I do shade. I can't answer this question because I don't watch her interviews. I stopped watching after probably the third one because it probably not to her detriment, but I just feel like the interviewers ask her the same questions, and I'm kind of like they really just want to ask her the question about En Vogue, like, ooh, what's the drama, what's the juice, to see what she's going to say that's spicy. You know, I'm like, stop asking her for interviews if you don't have anything new to add to the conversation. That's why I don't listen to the interviews. But I do love Dawn. I just gave her praise on her album cover. But yeah, that's what I have to say about that. Thank you, Dylan.
Thank you, Dylan.
Keep listening. And should I ask this question? What are her views on the pandemic? Or should I just pay it?
This podcast will not spread misinformation.
Okay, then I'll leave it alone, child. Bye.
And do you guys think she'll ever reunite with Evie? I think she'll pop in maybe once every 10 years from here on out. I don't think it'll ever be a full reunion.
Yes. I am okay. Like I had piggybacked on what you said before, Josh, about when you talked about the Doobie Brothers and Michael McDonald. I am okay with the current lineup of En Vogue just being En Vogue. They're releasing albums and new music, and then Maxine and Dawn Robinson popping in ever so often just to celebrate the legacy. I'm okay with that. I think that's great, you know. And then Maxine and Dawn, all five of them can do their solo stuff. But I think it would be cool, if there are milestones and cool little events where Dawn and Maxine can pop in like they did for Sylvia Rowe.
Mm-hmm. I'm good on that. I'm good on that, actually. Yeah, I wish I wasn't, but I think Terry and Cindy have realized the harm that does to the brand, and I think that I don't think they're going to go for it anymore. I think that they realize that it's always difficult after a reunion fails or whatever, because people get hype about it and then it doesn't happen. And then they're looking for the next time they come around, they're looking for the same girls that were supposed to be in the last go round. And so, it becomes about that. Even the shade she throws at Rona, I can understand now that you pointed it out, them not really being interested, because it's kind of you keep throwing shade at this girl who's been holding down his brand since you left, baby. It's kind of you know, you said it before. It's we're celebrating 30 years of En Vogue. You guys were in the first 8. You know, so it's if we're celebrating 30 years,
it's all 30
then why would Rona? Yeah, why would Rona be a part of that when she is a part of that 30-year history? Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, so I definitely understand your take on that. I still would be here for let's say En Vogue does obviously if they do something that, if it's a biopic or a musical or something like that, they would have to include Maxine and Dawn. But I would be more here for Maxine coming in to reunite for some spot dates or some cool events versus Dawn.
But Dylan only cares about Dawn. He didn't ask anything about Maxine.
But he threw shade at her talking about where that book at, and he threw shade at that
Instagram media tour.
Exactly. So that's his fave, but he is not contrary to throwing a little bit of light shade. So thank you, Dylan. I like your energy, Dylan. I like it.
And our final letter is from Ricardo. Ricardo says, "Hey everyone, I'm a bit late to the party. It's all good, Ricardo. You're here. That's all that matters. But I wanted to comment on something 2 episodes back. I totally agree with you that with you all that En Vogue should use social media much more for fashion stuff and such, which is fairly easy these days. I also don't understand why they never had beauty deals with companies when they were at their prime. I strongly disagree with you on another point, though. What good could it possibly do to let the group rest for a while? They are factually already doing that by only releasing an album every century or so. They have they have plenty of time between their En Vogue engagements to do whatever they want to do. There's no need to let it rest, as they are already not treating En Vogue as a full-time job. As a matter of fact, neither Dawn nor Max needed to leave. The speed with which En Vogue is doing stuff would allow everyone a full solo career on the side. If they now let the group rest, they will never come back, just like Destiny's Child will never come back. Just my 2 cents, Ricardo.
So I'm going to respond because, Ricardo, you're talking to me.
Yes.
Because I said that. And I just want to say, if you want to catch me outside, Ricardo, we can go at it. No, I'm kidding. No, you actually make a really good point. The En Vogue brand now is pretty much like they tour. You know, that's like their bread and butter as far as being a group now. And there is a lot of time. When I said that, I feel as if En Vogue, every year En Vogue is like touring some kind of way. If it's a small tour, a big tour, they're traveling across the country. They're doing like a county fair, a spot day here. So I feel like they are like touring, you know, but that takes time. You know, you got to rehearse, you got to get your glam squad together, you got to, you know, travel, etc., etc. So just what I know, the time it takes to prepare for shows, it's not just like a one and done. It takes time. So what I'm saying is I just feel like give the brand a rest so that you can focus on your own ventures, because sometimes those things can clash. Like, let's say Cindy's like, I want to reemerge my acting career, my theater career, and she's auditioning, you know, and then in the midst of it, they say, oh my God, these people want En Vogue to come to Europe and do this big event. And it clashes with her acting. It's like, well, you got to choose either or. Like, are you serious about reemerging your acting career, or are you comfortable with En Vogue and that being like, you know, your access to staying relevant? You know what I mean? So I feel like at some point, if they do more solo ventures, at some point the two can clash. And you're going to have to make a decision. And I think that it would feel better if you just kind of like, well, we're not even doing En Vogue right now, so I can do what I want to do, versus having to be like, sorry, ladies, I know I was going to do this album, and you know this is going to be a good paycheck for us, but I'm doing this. Like, people can be resentful, even if they don't say it. Like, they can be resentful for that, you know, because like, you know, what if Rhoda needed that check, you know, to pay for her caterer for her wedding? You don't know. I'm being shady, but I'm just saying, like, sometimes those things can clash. So what I'm saying is give it a rest so that it doesn't clash, and you can put all your attention towards what you want to do as an individual. But I do understand your comment. Your point of view is very valid, and I thank you for your thoughts. Do y'all have anything to say?
That was beautiful.
Hold on. I'm sorry. Destiny's Child will definitely reunite. I will not put that negative energy into the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. They will reunite. It's going to be all 5 of them. And it's going to be an amazing one and done performance that you will not be ready for, Ricardo. So you take this comment to the bank and cash it, because it's happening in the name of Jesus.
Don't hold your breath, though.
I was just going to say, I get what you're saying, Champ, and Ricardo. Hello, Ricardo. I think sometimes it might just be that a solo project can make the group pop. If we were talking about New Kids and how their ascent, you know, Jordan Knight had a great solo song, but that really didn't pop for the group. And they're still kind of like, you know, in the dredges. And then all of a sudden they kind of rebranded. But I think a lot of that had to do with Donnie being on Blue Blood. So just imagine if Cindy or Rona got a part in the movie or a part on a TV show that a lot of people love, that would bring a lot of interest to the group. So, I mean, I think that can help, not necessarily like putting the group to the side, but exploring other projects, because that could, help the group. And that's what you really want when you have, a group that's full of lead singers and lead actresses, use that, to your benefit. So I get what you're saying, Champ.
Well, folks, we have made it to the end of another episode.
Yay!
As a reminder for listeners, please do check us out on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, and YouTube, pretty much anywhere that you might be listening to your podcasts. And please remember to email us any En Vogue footage you may have, and we will host it for you. You don't have to have a YouTube channel. We got one already. We'll host it for you on our YouTube channel, En Vogue Craze. So for more En Vogue related content, find us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at En Vogue Craze, or on Twitter at Part of Us Fancast. Comments and questions, as always, can be sent to partofusevf@gmail.com. Thank you so much to the co-hosts for this episode for joining this chat today. And I'm Josh. You can find me on all of the social medias at Josh Jinx.
I'm Matan. You can find me at Your Little Dog 2 on YouTube. I don't know if I've posted anything recently about En Vogue, but I would like to say it's just so great to have Josh back. And of course, we're missing JP. Bye, everyone.
And I am Champ. You can find me on social media, Twitter and Instagram at It's Champ Johnson. And also our co-host that is missing, Jonathan. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram at Everybody Loves JP.
Everybody loves JP.
Thanks so much for listening, folks, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
This episode of Part of Us at En Vogue Fancast was researched, written, produced, and edited by Matthew at Culture Inject Productions. The intro and outro music was produced by Wolves and Vincent Tone. We're more than just a podcast. We're a fan community. You can keep up to date on En Vogue and chat with other fans by visiting En Vogue Craze on Facebook. You can also follow us on YouTube and Instagram at En Vogue Craze and Twitter at Part of Us Fancast. Part of Us and En Vogue Fancast is not endorsed by En Vogue, E1 Music, or En Vogue Records, and is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. En Vogue and its names, images, and audio clips are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective copyright holders.
No, that is you.
Wait. Okay. So wait, you want me to do like the questions, comments, anecdotes piece,
yeah,
right?
I love it. I love when you do it and they do the typewriter. Okay. It's iconic now.
I think it showed like that you could be a woman in music of a certain particular age and still be like the fiercest in the room. Like I just feel like sometimes there's this like you're supposed to get more subtle as you get older, like kind of idea that's really antiquated. And this was like, you could put these outfits on a whole lot of other artists of varying generations and it would be just as fierce. And so like, I just love that they were ready to take a risk and they let Michael Mann do that. Like they didn't stand in the way and say like, this feels too out there, or this feels too whatever. Like, shouldn't we be giving, Subdued or, whatever.
Right,
like that's what kind of bothered me about the, when they got back together, like the sort of whatever, Alicia, like almost like the Alicia Keys BET, like the styling of that era felt so
Macy's
minimal. It was very off the rack. It was very off the rack, and I was like, can you imagine if they come stomping out looking like this? Are you kidding me? Like Pedestrian was very in, I guess, at the time, but like this is just like showstopper. I'm a legend. Don't you know about me? Like that's what I love about it.
You better say it, Josh. That's exactly what needs to be said. Electric Cafe.